Hi everyone, good to see you. Really excited to be here and just follow up actually from what Steve said. Hopefully, I will not have overlap. So this is part of a project we did a while ago. So what I'm going to do is give you a bit of a tour of different places and different options. So Steve mentioned quite a few of this. I'm pretty sure you're aware of quite a few of those ones. So I have some slides, but the idea is just to give you some background and to visualize things. And then in the Q&A, can go in through this with more detail. So there's a lot of material actually available. A lot of this is open access, so publicly available. So you can actually sit there, accumulator, and can do that. Right. So the thing I'm going to start with, this is a European survey that happened just before the lockdown, COVID actually, and it was in 28 countries, so thousands of people. And then we, on the back of this, we added some more countries like Iceland, Montenegro, so countries that are not normally included. So it's a very diverse sample. So participants in this one. And a bit of background about sustainability, I think you all heard about this, you might know it about. So when we say sustainability, it's just this middle here. So how the three different pillars, as we say, the economic, environmental, and social. And this is kind of the backbone of transport and the options we're discussing today. So these are the responses. I think you heard earlier from, was Peter Ben actually, who said about the national survey here. So this is this international survey. And the focus was about automated transport. So a lot of people talk about this in the last decade or so. Have you heard someone called Elon Musk? He was saying that we'll have it by 2017, right? So those people say things. Some things do happen, some things don't happen, and some things just take longer. And Steve was saying it took like 30 years, and here we are. So this is just an overview of asking people, just like yourselves, quite similar process actually. What are the expectations of citizens across those countries about automated and connected transport? So this is all the new codes essentially. And one of the key reasons we're focusing on this, out of policies, out of investment, is to reduce accidents, make our roads safer.
Nicholas, sorry, what does it mean by automated transport?
Yes, sorry. So essentially, the easiest thing is just to think of a car with no driver. So you just press the button or just put on your phone and then just gets you wherever you need to go. But there are different levels there. So until we reach that point, you might get somewhere that you might have a little bit. So maybe there's still a steering wheel, but I can now read something, and then if I hear like a beep or like the steering wheel trembles, I have to go back and just try it and see what's happening. Okay, so this is the process, but we can discuss it in a bit more detail afterwards. Sorry. Okay. Right. Then the other key issue that people are concerned is that everyone has to be included. So don't leave people behind, as Steve was saying. So I think that's very well aligned. The other side of the coin is, so the flip side is that there might be some job losses. Actually, this is really key now. These are intelligence, you might be listening to this kind of discussions. And data, what's happening with data was a huge, again, incident a few weeks ago, I think, and those happen every now and then. So there are lots of issues around this, and that's what we're going to do now. So I'm really going to go quickly through some options and hope to have some time afterwards. So
Sorry, in your slide, what do you mean by AV impact?
yeah, so this is the automated vehicles. Oh, good question, thank you. Or autonomous vehicles. So that was the key question. So this automated and connected transport, that was all the whole survey was about. I had a lot of questions, and this is kind of a summary of some of the key issues that are the most important ones. Right, this is just one example. So there is a lot of expectations about ride sharing. So sharing essentially my taxi ride, my bus ride, my train ride, my even car. So there's a lot of car sharing going on. And we focus on 7 countries out of all of those countries, just because of our analysis and the time we're not. And there's some interesting things. I'll just highlight 2 just for the sake of the discussion. And this was essentially the question. So who would you share a ride with in a bus, in an automated vehicle, or whatever other option you have? So here, with the UK, for example, a lot of female respondents, they will be happy to share their rides with 2 females, for example. That's what this means. I won't comment on this, but you can go on that side. So that's the opposite. So here, for example, you can see a female respondent respondent from the UK would not be happy to share a ride with 2 male. And the same was found in Hungary. That's the Hungarian flag. a lot more. So this just be a bit of a hint what other people in other countries thought about this kind of ride sharing. Why am I focusing on this? Just to read a lot of what Steve was saying, from this 14 billion to the 9.5, I think it was. There's a lot of expectation about ride sharing, but for whatever reason, people, so we don't use it that much. Okay. Now, what are these I'd like to go through? Let us go really quickly because Rowan is gonna point to the 1 minute notification soon. So one thing is the ride sharing, as I will say. Those are different options. So bicycle skills, for example, up on the left of there is going to be universities. So I think it was only launched normally a couple of weeks ago. Those are e-bikes. It's from Paris. So again, Paris is really interesting. We're one of the first cities in Europe to have those bicycle sharing schemes. We have a lot of e-scooters. Quick question. Has anyone tried an e-scooter? Yes? Okay. Do you know if it's legal or illegal in the UK?
Currently legal if we're using it in one of the nationally accredited schemes in London.
You say legal or illegal, sure.
Illegal everywhere.
Exactly. So illegal everywhere else. That's really important. Okay, I have students who are doing projects with that. So if I take an e-scooter and go out here, it's illegal. Okay, on a public road. Just to remember this. In some other countries where you might go holidays, it's not. So it really depends. And there's a lot of work on that. And then it's again, it was only announced, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So a company called Wave, they focus on developing the software for those automated vehicles. So to get rid of this guy, actually, is a driver up there, and they collaborate with Uber. So ride sharing is one of the options, and it can cover different modes. The other thing is employment. What happens with the people? And this goes back to what I showed you a bit earlier with the three pillars, those three circles of sustainability. So the social side, so the humans. So we don't need to forget this when we talk about climate change. It's the environment, it's the economy, it's also the people. I will not spend more time, but this is really interesting to remember when we talk about bicycle sharing schemes, either free floating, so you can leave the bicycle anywhere, or they have a docking station, you need to go and dock the bicycle. Someone has to take care of this. And we don't see these people. They work overnight. It's not a great job, but it's essential. So again, I'll use the Paris example as some hilly areas. So giving them on Montmartre, for example. So everyone in the morning goes down to the center, and then of the tourists, and then someone in the evening has to bring them back up the hill, right? And then they do this with this kind of vehicles. Most of them are diesel. So think a bit about the climate change now here and the emission of the objective, okay? I'm not trying to take any sides. I was just putting out the issues. And then there's the inclusion. So mobility for everyone. And I thought we might have some discussions about community transport. So I was not planning to speak a lot, but I can speak a bit later. These are people who have some disabilities. So using those e-scooters, for example, and it's only about 10%, I think, that I have used them so far. So there's a lot of way to cover yet. And then even private companies, I'm using Uber because we did collaborate in the project. They're far from great and everything, just to be very clear, but they're large multinationals, so they're doing things, and they introduced this. So the question we were asking our participants like yourselves, and I'm not asking you now, but just something to comments put for thought, is would all of us be willing to pay an extra pound for this service, for this vehicle to be available for this lady over here? Okay, so if all of us pay an extra pound, then Uber can pay this driver like £5 extra for this ride, and this lady can get a ride through Uber. It's a private company, so there are some issues there. But anyways, that's the kind of question we did. I did say about data, so that's what they're doing in Tokyo, in Japan, for example. What they're doing, they're mapping all of the area, like here, for example. And then they need to know the routes, the traffic lights, the signs. There's a lot of data collection, including a lot of human data. So that's another issue to be aware of. And there are some sensitivities there. And different countries have different legislation regulations. Deliveries, a thing. Yeah, almost there. There was a big thing during COVID also about staying at home, working from home, and having things being shipped at home. Well, we reduce our travel, but someone else has to do this travel. How this is arranged, it makes a huge difference, because we might have, for example, for Emirates, only one delivery center, and then this one center, one company, does all of the deliveries in Elmbridge. But what if you have 5 or 10 private companies competing with each other to do deliveries, each of us, okay? So this is someone like Steve, I guess, who have to make like a framework, has to be approved, hopefully by you, and then take a decision if the 5, 10 options of companies is better or the single one. And they all have pros and cons. And that's the last one. It's about infrastructure. I think Steve mentioned the LC whips. He did discuss about cycling earlier, so I will not spend any more time. And this is just like an infographic we created. So I'll finish with this. And yeah, we can discuss it later. But this is like an image how some of this could look like in a location in a neighborhood. So thanks a lot. And happy to take any questions afterwards.